Welcome to Uncle Joe's Workshop. Tonight I was going to show you how to make a jump ring for hanging a piece of jewelry. Jump rings are really quite simple to make. Just a simple process. You need several tools. I need a flat nose plier like this. I'll need a wire cutter. I'll need some type of dowel or object. I have a handle that's about a 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch dowel is what you're looking for a jump ring. And then I've got 14 gauge wire. Okay, this is copper tonight. You'll need a jeweler's saw, which you have to be able to cut your work. And the last thing you'll need is some tape. You'll see why you need tape in a minute. It's just masking tape will do. This is painter's tape. It'll work as well. First thing I need is about 9 to 12 inches of wire. And so I want to cut that wire. And then I'm going to take my dowel. Before I use my dowel though, I want to take the very end of this. I'm going to make a little handle, something for me to hold on to, because when I wind the wire, I need to bend this over, so I have something to hold on to. And I want to bend it up slightly, and it gives me a very nice handle to hold on to. Just a little tech tip for today. Now, with the dowel, I'm going to wind this wire around this dowel. And getting it started is the hardest part. You want to get as tight as you can, and then get it lined up so that the edges come together and it comes together nice and tight. I want to continue winding this around my dowel, using my thumb on the inside to press that wire tightly against the dowel as I'm spinning it. Okay, continue and keep turning. Now, you may have to work on your hand strength for some of this, especially since we're making a jump ring for hanging something. I'm using 14 gauge, so I'm using a little heavier gauge wire than I would maybe to create a chainmail necklace or something like that. But there we go. Now this little end, I'm going to use this. I'm going to bend this right around a little more over the bench pin. Okay, try and use as much of that as I can. But this end, I'll cut this off. I don't need this sticking out like that. So I'm going to cut this off. Try and catch it in your hand. Okay, that way it doesn't shoot across and hit your neighbor in the head. That would be nice. Okay, now I'd like to put some tape on this. I'll peel off a piece of tape. And I'm going to wind this right around like that. You can go around maybe 1.5 to 2 times, that's fine. Doesn't take a lot of tape. This is painter's tape. It's not quite as sticky as masking tape. However, for today it's going to work perfect. Now, it's a little short to work with. If I was doing a whole bunch of these, I'd make them longer. Probably about an inch to 1.5 inches long, so probably 20, 24 inches of wire, depending upon what size they are. Now, I've got this made. I want to take my jeweler's saw, and I'm going to place this on the jeweler's saw. Right on the blade. And you're going to cut these from the inside to the outside. So, I'm going to press this in and compress my saw blade once again. Push it against the table or my bench pin and tighten down my chuck. Okay, there it is. Satisfied. Make sure you compress your saw blade. You need to compress the frame. Otherwise you won't have the tension on the blade you need. And lubricate your blade before you start. It's always a good idea to do that. Okay. I believe this is lubricated well enough. So now I'm going to move on to the cutting. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Okay, and there we go. Now it's going to be kind of hard to see this, but try to keep my fingers out of the way. Some people like working on the outside of the bench pin, okay, which is fine. If you're going to hold underneath, it's a good idea just to keep your fingers away from the front of the blade. I've seen people cut their fingers. They're pretty sharp. So I like to hold on the other side right about here and I'm going to cut and start cutting by holding it this way first. Alright, now I set a line or a mark in the wire. I can move over to the other side, get back into the same groove, and it's going to be kind of tricky. I'm trying to hold this in place on my bench pin. And it's a subtle plunge cut, cutting forward, but I'm cutting through about 3 to 4 jump rings at the same time. On the inside and the outside. Okay, that's the first piece. That was that little end that just cut off that I snipped at the beginning. And the first jump ring is, I'm through the first jump ring. I think I'm through the second jump ring. Hard for you to see this. Okay. I'll tip it up so you can see it in there. Can we see inside? Okay. You can see down in there how it's cutting through. And I'm going to tip it forward again. I'll keep cutting. Now the tape's holding it all together, so I need to move up a little bit because I'm near the bottom on the last couple. Okay, and I think I'm through most of these, but I still have 3 that got caught on the bottom, and I'll back this out so you can see it. There we are. So I have 3 that are stuck on here, but these are all done. And the tape, there it is. I'm done with that. Pull that away. I'll peel the tape away, and I have all these trapped in the tape. So I've just done a whole bunch of jump rings. Now, save what you make. You're going to use them later for other projects. But there you go. I have several jump rings. Next step is to put them on, and I'll show you a little bit about opening and closing jump rings. Let me move these out of the way. So I have a silver jump ring here. I'll zoom in just a little more. So what you're going to see now is when we open and close the jump ring, I use pliers to do this. Your fingers will not be strong enough, so you need 2 pairs of pliers. I like to use flat nose. A flat nose needle nose is fine. It works fine as long as you grab them carefully. Try not to mar them, but I can open and close my jump ring side to side. And it should close. There it is. Okay. There. So now it's closed. You can see this gap. Very, very tight fit. Now I'm going to open it back up because I want to show you when I open it side to side. And don't pull them apart because you'll change the shape of the ring, but side to side is okay. Then I'm going to place the jewelry onto this. So here's a piece of jewelry. And I put this through the hole. Get in there. Okay. And that's on. Try not to touch the jewelry with the pliers as you do this, because you could scratch all your work you've just done. And bend that back together very carefully. It's hanging up just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that jump ring is now on. It's nice and tight. It's not coming off. And it looks good. It's all done. Ready to go. Ready for display. And that's it.